And I'm doing this only because I'm going to use terms that I want you to know about. So I'm going to use terms like high-performing organization. In all of our research, we build in a multivariate dependent variable around market performance. And that's over the last 5 years, revenue growth, market share, profitability, and customer satisfaction. Those that are in the top quartile of this over the last 5 years, we call them high-performing organizations. Those that are in the bottom quartile, we call them low-performing organizations. So sometimes I'll be referring to high-performing organizations or low-performing organizations. So you should know what that means. The first one, so Derek's been pointed out, he's kind of cagey. So he gave me a call and said, Jay, we got all these top issues we want to discuss. And he gave me a list of them and said, well, we got research on this, this, and this. And it fit everything he wanted. So he wanted me to do all these presentations. And if you know me, I don't do presentations well. I tend to talk too much. I tell stories. I tell you the truth, but sometimes it comes out and gives you a headache. So all this stuff is going to be available to you. So we've got a new guidebook we just put out on creating a skill database, but there's a lot of different nodes. The goals and benefits of having a skill database. So there's a lot of them. I'm not talking about, I'm going to show you the difference between what capabilities and competencies versus skills. Because today it's going to be for a lot of jobs, it's going to be work without a job, work without a capability, work without a competency, work based on my skills. And then we break it down to skills. So it's all about, what the job description is. Don't you think job descriptions are a little crazy today? Then you have what the role is maybe under that job. Then you have some competencies or capabilities that you'll have. But you don't break it down into skills. So this is how to build a skill database. It's much more complicated. This is a big guidebook. But it's you got to identify the stakeholders ahead of time. Who are the stakeholders for the skill database? Who's going to use it? So at Johnson & Johnson, they decided it was the IT department that really needed a skills database, and they did it for just the IT department. And then how do you maintain this database? Because skills go out of date fast if you don't use them. So how do you validate that the skill is still up to date? How do you maintain that database? So it's not as easy as just breaking down skills. There's a lot of things you got to think about as you go through this process. So you may want to start like Johnson & Johnson with one department that is a critical role for the company. Theirs was their technology division. You have to change your culture and other considerations. So when you look at consideration, key challenges for a skill database, and by the way, we're going there, and people want you to go there anyway. So you should be thinking about where you're going to be doing this. So where are you going to pilot it? You can't do it, just roll it out for the whole company, because you're going to have mistakes. You're going to have errors. You got to look at it. You got to go through all the other stuff about maintaining, verification. Do you use internal? Do you use external? What are you going to be using this for?
So we started this process in our last company, and I think we started with like something 70,000 skills.
Yeah.
Work-based process.
You use Workday?
Yes, etc. What do you see with companies who are doing this effectively? How many skills do they typically have? Or is it all over the board?
It's all over the board. So it depends if you're doing it just for certain functions and roles. So some companies only do it for critical roles or pivotal roles, like say Johnson & Johnson with technology. Some do it for the whole company, and it'll be a lot more when you start doing it for the whole company. So the best recommendation I have is not trying to do it for the whole company right away, especially if you're pretty big. If you're smaller, a company like Veritech, which is a pharmaceutical company, they did it for the whole company. I'll show you their case study in a minute.